Alright. This is some parts that I have. This is the carburetor off the original engine. The original engine was locked up beyond saving. I can get another power products of that type, but they were known to be problematic engines anyway. Now, sometimes I will put older carbs on newer engines, and including shrouds and things, to give them the correct look, even though it's modern powered and everything. But in this case, I as far as I know, you can't get anything for that carburetor anyway. But drive disc that reads out of it. See, they used roller needle bearings. This would be the drive pulley. This would sit here for its horizontal engine. So, yeah, there. Drive wheels. The wheels are basically junk. The gears are still good. The very early version of some of their snow throwers use this style aluminum drive, and snowblowers usually have less wear than a rider, of course, so you can usually get decent ones. These ones, the gears aren't terrible, but the tires are really worn down. However, I do know a salvage yard that has these tires if I did decide to put those back on, which I don't. This is one side of the drive mechanism. As far as I can tell, this originally would have been straight, and somebody modified it to be 90. You got your different bolt holes for your deck to keep it in place. The deck itself is right there. You can see the top sheeting's bad. However, the sides are strong, so I just need to cut some flat stock, bend a lip on it, and the deck will be fine. In salvage yard, where I help out now and then, I was able to get me a new old stock Homko blade, the swing away, which is the correct for this mower. Drive system here. You can see it's quite pitted, but a lot of this is actually the same as the snow thrower. I mean, minus the cables, of course. This is the axle assembly. Trying to get the one wheel off, the axle pulled out of the frame. Now, like I was saying, I can remake a lot of this. You know, it's just a rod with a threaded hole in the end. These are rods with, again, threaded holes in the end. So, I mean, if you want to take the time to replace this so everything's the same spacing and all that, yes, it can be done. It's just very, very time consuming. And for this machine, it doesn't really have that much value. I mean, well, currently it has 0 value. But this is the engine mounting base. But even the other ones that I've seen that are in good shape don't seem to really be worth anything. You can see some stuff's been repaired before. I mean, this thing has a lot of use in it. The front end's very worn out. Differential. I'm guessing it's their own design. This is the axle shaft. You know, that's going to have either a square or key or something, or a spline for the pinion gears in there. It's just a lot of stuff to rebuild when there's really no reason to rebuild it. This gear here has a lot more wear in it. The teeth are far pointier. Let's see. Gas tank, which is just basically a standard Briggs gas tank. Now, I think I paid $5 for this lawnmower. So, I know, it's like, why would you pay for that? Well, getting it from basically an abandoned scrap yard in Newaygo, they're still wanting to get money for the stuff as they're cleaning up the property. You can see this has got the old style friction disc where the wheels, actually the rubber just gets replaced, not the housing. They make a conversion kit for these to take the modern style wheel that Murray started offering in the I think they switched in the late 60s, possibly early 70s. This is the drive pulley. The only reason I saved it is so I know the size of this pulley compared to the pulley there, so I know my drive system speeds, which are, of course, going to be slightly different because we're putting a transaxle in it. Side guards. This is tray where the seat sets. Now they got this hole cut in here. I don't know if they did that for servicing or what his reasoning was for cutting that. I mean, the yard, they stopped, I guess they closed down in the late 80s, early 90s, and they never really let anyone in. If you knew what you wanted, they would get it for you. Other than that, you couldn't really walk around. I can see there's a lot of bracing on here. So I know there's cracks and rust holes and things that need to be dealt with. Now on a Homko, it would have the name right across here. I don't think the Sears one had any scripting on it other than the front steering plate. This is the deck assembly. Basically, the deck cutting deck bolts onto this. And then, of course, you got your engine here, which blade goes down, rides back to the drivetrain, which goes up. Let me see, like all these cables and these brackets, and there's little pulleys and shit everywhere. But here's the adjustments. These you raise up and down after loosening the bolts. So it's something you kind of just set it for your yard and that's it. This is the muffler, the engine exhaust through here, so it's underneath the deck. And then there's a plate, and I believe the holes are here, I can't remember. And it's just like kind of that standard hole pattern with the little round circles that you see in a sifter or colander, I believe they're called. Here's the front bumper. Looks like 1/8 steel. I don't think I have the rear bumper. I think I only have the front. So, I have to make one. You can see the sheet metal on the deck. It's basically just the top. This bad. It's a 24-inch machine, I believe. Most likely I'm going to put this engine on here just because it's a newer engine. More reliable. I know it's not going to have the old look. I could go and put a vintage motor on here. I have quite a few of the correct era. Well, that one, for instance, that one's actually too new. There's one back there that are the old letter series. They're aluminum, but they're like a 6F, something like that. But I don't think I'm gonna. I do have some 2 cycles. They are smaller though. I believe this was a 4-horse, the power products that went on this, but I just don't see the need to put one that old, because if I'm already putting a newer transaxle in it, you kind of want it to be where you can service it easy for whatever reason if you're using it on a daily basis and stuff.